How many seconds do you have before it's too late? Now, researchers say that you have about 5 seconds in order for you to make a decision of whether to defend yourself, escape, etc., etc. In my experience over the last 30 years, I can almost guarantee you it's less than that. It's more like around 3 seconds. Now, I understand going from 5 seconds to 3 seconds doesn't sound like a lot of time, but man, having an extra 2 seconds to make a decision, whether you're gonna fight back, escape, or whatever you're going to do, is a huge, huge advantage in order for you to survive any violent altercation. Now, within those 3 seconds, if you have the opportunity to escape, please do so. But what's more important is that if you're gonna act, especially act decisively, when it comes down to self-defense, those 3 seconds mean that we're gonna do 3 things. The first thing we're gonna do is distance. We're gonna close the gap as quickly as possible. You wanna make sure that we get into what's called close quarters combat. You see, close quarters gives you an advantage because we can start using what I call ballistic tools. These are things like elbow strikes, headbutts, knee strikes. These are the kinds of tools that are even gonna take bigger and stronger people out of commission. So after we close the distance, that is what I mean. We must attack back. The quicker we can do that, the better off we are. Think about it. This person who's attacking us, they known for a while that they're gonna attack us, whether they just saw us a couple minutes ago or they've been planning in their head for days, if not weeks, if not months on end. Therefore, we wanna take the element of surprise and throw it back on them. We can do that not just by closing the distance and attacking back, but also making sure that we then escape. You see, I always say the number one rule in self-defense is not to beat up somebody. It's to create an opportunity that we can do one thing: escape. Get the hell out of there. Now, there are 3 points that I really want to emphasize right here. I kind of call them principles. And the first one revolves around what we call the reaction time window. As we already talked about, some people say 5 seconds. I actually like to more think about 3 seconds. Kind of think of things this way. When something goes down and we're attacked, if you're not reacting or escaping within the first 3 seconds, you're going to find yourself on the receiving end of a lot of hurt. So I want to make sure that we really pay attention to that 3-second window. It's so important because as we train, we always want to make sure that our scenario training revolves around seeing a threat and then acting. And as long as we keep up with that, we want to make sure we condition ourselves, not just our body, but also our mind as well, to make an action. Either I'm taking action to defend or I'm taking action to escape. The second principle is what we call the decision-making rule. Now, as I already alluded to, we really have a couple different choices. We want to try to minimize those choices as much as possible. When we see a threat, there's 3 different things that we can mainly do. The first thing we can do is that we can act. We can defend ourselves. We can fight back. The second thing we do is escape. But I also want you to understand that the third option is we can try to verbally de-escalate the situation. Please understand that not every situation is going to be so threatening that we need to either fight back physically or just run out of the situation. Sometimes we need to say something. Sometimes we need to make sure that we de-escalate something verbally. So when we go ahead and we train, always make sure that we work those 3 options in to each one of those scenarios. We can either fight back, we can escape, or we can talk. The third and last principle that I want to talk about is the mental conditioning tool. You have to understand that we have either fear or hesitation that really is going to hinder our response. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. Every human brain goes through it. But the more we can condition ourselves to fight against those 2 kind of temptations, the better off we're going to be. So as we do this, we see a threat as a trigger. And as long as we relate that trigger back to making a decision and then acting, remember, we're either fighting back or we are escaping, or we are verbally de-escalating the situation, that is going to put us in a much better position to not only stay safe, but also protect the people that are around us. If you want more information on our programs, especially how to fight back physically, make sure you guys check out the description. There's a great link in there for some incredible training.